and as physical as we can. So I think that's what makes him so great. He makes sure there's no gray area in terms of coaching and teaching. There's a lot of coaches out there who just coach, but I mean, he's a great teacher. We have a lot of great teachers on this team, this defense. D'Amico being such an amazing teacher for the linebackers. Um, so yeah, I think just all those things put together is what makes the product you see on the field.
Hey, Brett, in a normal year, a trip like the one that you guys are on might be seen as a potential for, team bonding and getting closer to one another. Obviously, this year being close is forbidden. So I guess the question is, how do you as a team captain try to take advantage of this trip, given all of the social distancing rules that you're having to deal with?
I mean, it's honestly just the exact same as we were in Santa Clara. I think our logistics guys, Riss and Slab, they've done an outstanding job making sure we have everything that we need out here. They made it as seamless as possible. I know we are in a new location. We do have the COVID protocols to abide by, which, that's just what we've been doing all along. So it's not much of a change there. It's just a matter of, just staying locked in, making sure we're, full steam ahead going into the this week against the Bills. So.
Yeah, Fred, speaking of the Bills, could you just give us a little scouting report on what strikes you about their quarterback and their offense that you're going to be facing?
Yeah, Josh is an amazing player. I played him back when I was at BYU when he was out at Wyoming. He's always had that strong arm that everybody's talked about, but he's continued to progress as a true NFL quarterback. Just with him going through his reads and making the big time throws, being able to progress in his read throughout a play. So, and also obviously as a runner, that's something that you have to make sure you're accounting for because he is such a big guy. He can shake off tacklers. So there's a lot to be prepared for. That's why we got to make sure we're studying the tape and seeing if we can catch anything to help to our advantage.
Hey, Fred, you obviously got the news Saturday. You play the game Sunday. You find out, all the details maybe Monday, Tuesday. You're now in Arizona. Does this feel like really odd, or do you, um, is there, I don't know. Is this really strange? And if so, do you see like, okay, there will be normalcy eventually here?
Well, this entire year has been kind of odd, kind of strange. There's been a lot of change, a lot of different things from a regular NFL season. So this kind of just fits right in where, like you said, we had to make some last minute changes to where we're going to be practicing and staying, but everything's still the same. The mindset's still the same. We got to make sure we are just going 1-0. We're only focused on going 1-0 this week and worrying about everything else that happens after that. But I think the guys have adjusted well. Everybody's bought in, and we all have the same goal. So that's why it's not that hard to really get your mind laser focused on the task.
Fred, wondering if you've had an opportunity to check out the weight room or training room, some of the makeshift setups that you guys have in the hotel, what your impressions are of those, and also what you can tell us about your former college teammate Kai now that he's been promoted.
The weight room and training room, everything's outstanding. It's actually really nice having everything in the same place. Everything's here at the hotel where we're staying. So you just wake up, you have your virtual meetings, and everything's right here where you need it, your meals, and so on and so forth. So yeah, they've made it very seamless in the transition. And in terms of Kai, super excited for him. Just anytime I get around to BYU guys, it's just like a brotherhood that we have, and Kai was just such an amazing player at BYU. He's kind of gone to a couple different teams throughout the league, but just his ball hawking ability, having 14 career picks in college. I'm just excited for him to possibly at any point be able to get some opportunities. Now that he's up on the active roster, and it's just good to have one of your brothers on the team. So.
Two more guys.
There were several defensive linemen that got more snaps than usual on Sunday. Just wondering your assessment of them, especially Kevin Givens. He seemed to really kind of take advantage
Yeah, guys had to step in, obviously, because we were missing some guys due to the circumstance. But, I mean, Kevin has been outstanding this entire year. He's continued to get better and better as the weeks have gone on. And you saw some of that, flash again this past Sunday. He's a huge asset for our defense, our team, and he's continuing to get better. And all those other guys on the interior, just seeing Street and how much he's gotten better and better and being healthy, being able to show off his abilities. So I'm just happy for those guys, and anytime you get opportunity, taking full advantage of it, it doesn't go unseen for sure.
Hey Fred, piggybacking a little bit off of Matt and Eric's earlier questions, Kyle had said the other day he was trying to temper everybody being overwhelmed at the thought of being gone for 3 weeks. Is that something that you found in the beginning that you guys kind of just accepted, or is it still a little bit, let's take it 1 week at a time, or this is going to be a little bit overwhelming for us?
I mean, I can't speak for everybody else. Obviously, I think we are all on the same page in terms of our mindset, but I think we just accepted it. This is just something that you're gonna have to adapt to, just like the rest. This whole season's been adapting to different uh, changes in a season, and in terms of the COVID. So I think we're all on board. We're gonna make sure that we're dialed in and keeping the main thing, which is going 1-0 this week.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks,
We got
guys.
Kyle Shanahan up for you guys next.
right, guys. Injuries for today. We're gonna hold Debo out just with his hamstring. Same one as last time. Just being smart with him. K1 Williams still the ankle. Won't practice today. Likely won't be available this week. That's all I got right now.
Hey, Kyle. Well, you talked about you wanted to go somewhere safe, so I guess a two-part question here is how safe do you guys feel down there? And then, Santa Clara County's executive, Jeff Smith, had some pointed comments about the 49ers and questioning their values and saying that he thought the players and the community were being put in harm's way by continuing to play through the season. So I wanted to get your reaction to that as well.
I mean, I have no reaction to that. I'm not someone who questions our values who doesn't know us. Shows what we're dealing with. So, no, that doesn't matter. With here, yeah, the hotel, the situation we're in is very safe. City's a little different, just compared to where we were at, but we're going to try as hard as we can not to be a part of this city. It makes it really easy showing up here on the day we are because it's, players don't have a day off or anything, so it's completely a work day. But we've only been here for about 18 hours, so we'll see how it goes.
I think that this upcoming game is your second game in 22 days, and some of the guys who have missed games in recent weeks have missed them not because of mechanical issues, but because they were, close contacts to COVID patients, things like that. And I'm just wondering whether you see any sort of freshness among the players, or at least whether they seem more fresh than a team typically does in early December. Is there any silver lining to everything that you guys have been through, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know about yet because I haven't seen us go full speed since Sunday. But I thought on Sunday just our team speed looked faster. I mean, we looked like a team that was a lot more rested than we had been the previous 9 weeks. So the bye week helped. Not being able to practice a ton that week helped our overall team speed. I think we struggled a little bit with stamina and things like that, and just stuff that you lose a little bit when you're not practicing all the time. But we had practiced so much throughout the year that I think we were better off than you would normally expect when you miss the amount of days that we missed in that 2-week span.
Just curious what your initial impressions are of the facilities that you guys have set up with the weight room and the training rooms and the hotel and everything like that.
That's what I mean by it's as good as we could have hoped for in our situation. I mean, we're in a big hotel. It's not a convention center, but it almost feels like it. I mean, we're able to have a 15,000 square foot ballroom that we can turn into a part-time locker room, so we don't have to change over there. We can change before we go, and also so we can have a minor weight room in here too. So a lot of space in here for us, and that's why it's been convenient.
Hey Kyle, some of the feedback I've gotten and some of the things I've written is like, oh boo-hoo, these poor millionaires might be away from their families. And I was just wondering, obviously, we're not just talking about players, we're talking about a whole bevy of people who are at various levels. I'm wondering, do you address everyone on staff and like how do you make this, I know you guys, when you're here, it's a good combined all for one effort, but how do you make sure that the people who aren't the high profile members of the 49ers are understanding the sacrifice they're making and feeling a part of it? And then also just for you personally, you have kids, you have a wife, how are you emotionally just dealing with this question of what December is going to look like?
I mean, I'm all right. I mean, you can get through anything when you know the time of it. I mean, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is, we'll be all right. It's not the end of the world. It's just, I mean, I'm not trying to talk about all this stuff every week. It was just more the disappointment of people got to make decisions. Everyone's got their job to do, and that's not my profession. And you guys know what mine is and what I feel I'm good at. I just like communication. That's all, and how people treat each other. Most human beings. So that's what we were disappointed with, and we got to deal with this situation just like a lot of people are dealing with stuff, not just the Niners. I mean, all over football. I know we're the only ones who've had to move, but all over the country. I mean, so everyone's got to deal with stuff. You don't want to sit here and be woe is me. There's just a way to do it, and that's what we were bothered with. You adjust, you see what you got to deal with, and you move on. I know everyone's dealing with their own little things. I mean, now's the easy part, just because it's we got here on a work day, and we're going hard all the way till our game on Monday. So it's more the times after that, and the things I just try to stress to people is everyone's going to be at different levels, and some people are going to deal with this different than others. And someone who hits that wall, whatever it is, I mean, you read about the NBA players in the bubble and all the mental issues they went through and stuff, and those guys were at least allowed to hang with each other. We're not. So we're basically just in rooms here. Haven't seen the guys except when we Zoom meet them, and then when we go out to the field for walkthrough. So it's not like we're in a bubble hanging out. So those things will build up on guys, and each guy will handle it differently. So I just try to tell everyone, no matter what, when someone has a problem, whatever it is, there's no problem too big or too small. And a lot of guys keep that stuff internally. But I met with a bunch of the players, and I grabbed about 20 of them last night and just told them to look out for that stuff and make sure that whether they come to me, a position coach, we have lots of people here who aren't coaches or players who can help people. So it's just understanding that it's human nature. Some stuff's going to come up over the next 3 weeks, and no one ignore it. Just always bring it to someone's attention, because the worst thing you could be in these situations is feel kind of alone on an island. And we got a big group going through it, so we can rally together and make sure we help each other through it.
Kyle, just following up with Debo, did he have a setback, or are you guys just being safe with him?
No setback. He's just still sore from the game, and especially after traveling yesterday and stuff, being on a plane, we don't want him to get him out there with what's happened to him this year and have him go full speed and risk anything with the hamstring.
Kyle, Sean McDermott shared with us that he looked at Debo Samuel through the draft process. Was Josh Allen someone you looked at through the draft process when he was coming out?
Yes, not a ton. I mean, it was him with a number of other guys, but he was guys I was hoping were going to come out earlier, but they didn't, and so we looked at guys more that year. And the next year we had Jimmy, and we study everyone every year, but as far as going through the process and the interviews and all that, not as much.
Hey, Kyle, I realize you're looking at Richard Sherman at his performance as it relates to winning games right now, but given his recent leg issues, his age, will this how he performs determine kind of whether he's back next year?
I don't think it ever is as simple as that. I mean, Sherm's a guy that I know I personally, and I know John feels the same. We want on our team at all times. I mean, Sherm's a guy that when he does get older and he does descend, he's such a good football player. He finds a way. I understand his contract issue this year. I understand there's a number of guys on our team with that this year, but whoever can help us win football games are guys we're trying to figure out how to bring back, and especially guys who do it the right way. Sherm is as good as anyone in those categories. Now, there's lots of stuff that go into it at the end of the year and how we're going to balance all this out and wait to figure out what the salary cap is and stuff with what happens. But I know Sherm's time here, he's been everything we've hoped and more, and I really hope that these next whatever games we have left, I really hope that's not the end of it.
Kyle, what strikes you about the Buffalo Bills defense and how well they've done these last couple years to become a true playoff contender?
They're just doing it the right way. I think very highly of Sean, just going against him a number of years, being in his division as a coordinator, even when I wasn't playing him a lot in the NFC when we were in separate divisions. Coming in there, I'm taking over a team. I feel like they've drafted the right way. They've done it the right way. They got their quarterback, and Sean's always had a good defense, and they compete. They play very physical, very sound defense who always plays hard, and it's not a surprise at all why they've been winning some games and why they seem to get better each year.
What was your assessment of Colton McKibbetts, his first ever start? Obviously, he had quite a bit on his plate, but seemed to keep fighting until the end of that game.
I was really happy with Colton. It was a tough challenge to put him in, just to carry that load, especially versus some of the personnel they had. But I thought he did a good job. I think he's gotten better each game for us, and hopefully that continues for the rest of the year.
You haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to get Debo and Ayuk on the field at the same time, and with Raheem too. I would imagine all three of those guys can sort of complement each other. But what do you hope to accomplish in terms of getting everybody together on the same page, and ultimately, how frustrated have you been with not being able to have your offense have all of those guys throughout most of the season?
I mean, that's frustrations you deal with every year as a coach. I know this year has probably definitely been the worst. So it's been frustrating, not just for me, but everyone in the building. I'm sure the fans too, and I definitely know those guys. We got some young guys who I know are going to only get better, that we got the right guys and stuff, and I know they're made of the right stuff. They play through stuff, they play hard, and they've just been unfortunate with some things, and it's a matter of time. Kind of been hoping that all year, and we're getting here where we got 5 left in the scheduled season, and I'm really glad that we got them both out now. But the goal isn't to just, all right, let's unload all this stuff. Let's try to stack some days. I mean, every time I've gotten confident with 3 days stacked, it's kind of been taken away. So it's just one day at a time. It was great to get Ayuk back today. You know, this is the first time we've seen him in a little bit. I know Debo's a little bit sore, so he's not going to do as much today, and we'll see how Raheem is out there. But just getting all these guys back, it just brings some continuity to everyone. I know it's a lot easier for the quarterbacks too. And if I had to give you one thing, just as a whole, as a group, I really want to cut down on our turnovers. I mean, in the games we've lost, I mean, our turnovers have gotten way carried away, and I thought they did last Sunday too. We were fortunate that our defense had 4. That to me is the first thing we got to fix, and having guys out there a little bit more, I think, will give us a better chance to do that.
We'll do a couple more.
You mentioned a little bit ago about that you talked to certain guys about you keeping an eye out for issues coming up. Is that something you really stress throughout a season like this? And you said it was about 20 guys. Is it the same group of guys that you really rely on to kind of lead and keep an eye out in that way?
It depends on the situation. I rarely talk to that many guys. I usually talk to the whole team or a smaller group, but just when we got in last night, and I just wanted to grab a few before we got up to rooms when we were in on our luggage, so just the way it worked out. But that's kind of a little bit of the burden of the head coach to I mean, everything's good, but you gotta look into the future a little bit and think of some of the problems that are going to come up as you do this. So, because the game is on a day, and for the most part, till this year, but usually it's always going to stay that day. And no matter what comes up, you can't let things distract you too bad, because the time's ticking until you got to perform. So you try to, when you get just blindsided by stuff, it can mess up a day, and sometimes you don't have that time. So that's stuff that coaches and players and all our support staff everywhere is constantly working on, because of how important it is to be prepared for whenever that game is. And when you have the certain days to recover, the certain days to implement the plan, which can be a little overwhelming at first, and then you have a certain amount of days to practice it physically. Every moment matters, and that's why you got to always look ahead to what might come up.
Kyle, last season it seemed like lots of things went your way. This season it seems like nothing's going your way. Everything's been a struggle, and it doesn't really seem like the season's fun. Are there ways that the season has been gratifying, though, the struggle of it, even if you wouldn't describe it as fun like last year?
Yeah, last year wasn't all fun either. I'm telling you, when you're 8-0 and you're going to play Seattle and stuff, and you're not just chilling all week. Like, man, this is so much fun. I mean, every week's a grind. It's hard to do that. I mean, you in order to go on runs like we did last year, you got to prepare yourself every week like you are going to lose that game, and you better work everything you can to give yourself a chance to win. And when you think that way, and then you just look up, and all of a sudden you're strung together a lot of games. I feel that's how we've been this year too, which has kept us close in some games, which has allowed us to come through and win a few at the end. Obviously, we've had more adversity than last year, but I thought we had some last year. We just overcame it pretty well, and it wasn't quite as bad, so it was a little bit easier to overcome. But those are things that build people individually. It builds character within your team, and it makes your team stronger. I mean, you always want to go through, as what you'd say, a fun year, which means playing well. But I also don't take anything for granted. I think some of the stuff we went through our first 2 years really made us able to go through that year last year and get to the Super Bowl. I think the stuff we've gone in our 3 years is helping us survive what we've been going through this year more than anything, and also giving us a chance to still make something out of it. So I'm just excited that we were able to pull off that win last week, because now we're in this situation. That's what we're thinking about. We're thinking about getting to Buffalo, because we don't want to mess this up. We want to get to Buffalo and play as good as we can, so we can continue thinking that way the rest of this year.
All right, thanks, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey Nick, wondering how it is to make the adjustment to a place where you may be for several weeks, and I know you have a wife and a little one, and I'm just wondering how that is emotionally for you, how you communicate what's going on, when you hope to see them again, and also are they living in the Bay Area or were they living somewhere else?
Yeah, it's good. Fortunately, it actually worked out perfect where they went home to see some family and do some things back home in Alabama and Mississippi, and so they haven't been with me. So I've kind of been on my own for a couple weeks now, and we're excited for the adjustment. We're here. We all feel comfortable. Riss and Slap and our ops and management team, they've done a great job of providing all the resources. We have everything we need to be successful here, and it's time to make this place home.
Nick, it looks like this week you'll probably have Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Raheem Mostert all out there with you finally on the field together. What does that do for your expectation, your excitement, looking forward to the Bills?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I loved working with Brandon. I've loved working with Brandon, since camp. I really think he's a great player. And then just to have everybody back it makes this team better. We got Debo back, and we got Raheem back. We got Jeff back, and to see how much better those guys are with the ball in space, it makes this team better. And so the more guys that we can get back to make us better as an offense, it's a blessing. And we're pumped and excited and ready to get out to practice today.
Sorry, Nick, I just had a follow-up to what you were saying about your family. I'm just wondering, do you feel like this is going to take an emotional toll on some of your teammates? I mean, how do you guys deal? I'm sure it is. How do you guys deal with that and the kind of the level of uncertainty? This isn't just another week away where you know where the end date is.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL's full of adversity, different challenges week to week, and all sorts of things you can imagine the NFL happen. And so this is just kind of the next thing, the next challenge, the next adversity. And it is. For some guys, you have to be strong. You have to focus on what's important. Family's important, but so is our jobs. We do this for a living, and we have jobs to do, and we're all expected to perform at a high level. And so that's what we're focused on, and we're excited to face the Bills on Monday.
Are there ways to bond, to socialize, to make this a little bit easier without being close to one another? I'm just wondering about, video game tournaments, anything to sort of, pass the time and to bond without being literally next to one another.
Yeah, during the season, I'm not a huge video game guy, but I know that we have a solid crowd on our team that does like the Xbox and PlayStation. So yeah, I'm sure there's some guys that brought the systems and are definitely going to find a way to pass their time that way. But we're just focused on being here, playing football, and doing our jobs just like regular.
Hey, Nick, given the series of events that led up to you getting on a plane yesterday, was it all disorienting? I mean, do you ever say, like, why am I here in Arizona on a Wednesday or whatever? And if so, did that quickly pass?
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Once we got the news, we're going to Arizona, and then you just pack your bags and go. You just roll with it. It's kind of the mentality of the team. Roll with it, do the work hard, focus on what matters, and that's beating the Bills. And we've kind of just been going with it. And so we're here. Like I said, the ops guys have done an incredible job. We got our weight room, we got our training room, we got our meal room, everything you could imagine. We're here now, and so it's been great, and everybody's done a great job.
Nick, one room you guys don't have is like a quarterback's room, I'd imagine, because you guys all have to be separate and watching film on Zoom. So can you kind of maybe share with what that's like, whether you're watching game film on your laptop and maybe Coach Shanahan, like how does that work in this new season of environment under the strict protocol now?
Yeah, so everything is just virtual. So team meetings are virtual, position meetings are virtual, and so I mean, obviously they can share the screen. So you're watching their screen, which is the Bills film, and while you're watching the film, they're talking through it, and we're sharing our thoughts. So it's basically everybody just looking at one screen and just sharing thoughts back and forth, and going over the plays that are installed each day. Today is base downs. And so that's kind of the game plan for today.
Nick, Kyle spoke about turnovers being a little bit of an issue for y'all. What is the focus been, or how do you prepare and do a better job at that going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you kind of just ingrain in your mind. As a quarterback, it's the most important thing, protect the football. And that's something you have to work on, but I feel like you also, the more preparation, keeping two hands on the ball in the pocket, and just the harder you work at the small details, I feel like turnovers take care of themselves. And so that's what I've been focusing on. And all year, our ball carriers have done a great job of protecting the ball in traffic. We had a really insane stat. It was a couple hundred touches without a fumble. So we've been doing a good job overall. I know last game we coughed a couple up, but that's the biggest thing. Just focus on the details, high and tight. For me, crisp, sharp decisions, know where to go with the football, and being strong in the pocket. So it's really just hard work, focus, and working on the fundamentals, and turnovers take care of themselves.
Nick, you're the starting quarterback for this crucial stretch run, but it's still Jimmy Garoppolo's team. So how do you approach leading right now in Arizona? Are you a vocal leader, or do you just lead by example?
Yeah, it's a good question. You just kind of get the feel of the team. At the end of the day, you be yourself, work as hard as you can, and make plays, and that's how you gain respect. And then you just keep working hard after that. I mean, my personality always just gonna bring some energy, always be a positive influence and things like that. And we have a great group. You know, guys pick each other up, always encouraging each other, and fighting when it gets tough. And so I like our group right now, tight knit, strong. And I hope I just bring positive energy to that huddle.
Kyle was saying that he could see a difference in freshness and team speed coming out of the bye week. He thought that the week of rest did have an impact on that Rams game. Did you see the same thing? Could you kind of feel that in the practices leading up to that? And how do you think that will carry forth, into the early part of this month?
Yeah, no, I agree. Our schedules, we had to move, but it's been fairly kind to us with the bye week. And then now playing on Monday, so an extra day of rest. So those things definitely help. Anytime you can be the fastest, most fresh team on the field, I feel like it's benefited us a lot. And so I would agree with that point.
Nick, travel to Arizona aside, how has this week been different for you as far as budgeting your time to study a team that you might not be as familiar with as some of the other teams you faced, and what has stood out to you when you gotten into what the Buffalo Bills try to do defensively?
Yeah, the schedule hasn't been too much different. I feel like, if anything, we had an extra day to watch film because of the Monday game and traveling. So that was nice. But now that we're here, the schedule is right on par with our weekly schedule as far as times and basically everything. It's going to be a normal week for us. And so that's nice. You just stick to your routine. And studying the Bills, they're a good defense. You can tell right off the bat they're aggressive. They're good in man coverage, tight. They do a good job. And they've got some good playmakers, well coached. They're disciplined, and they do a good job of disguise. So they've done a great job. They're having a really solid year, and we're excited for the challenge.
Two more guys.
Nick, you overcame a few mistakes on Sunday and found ways to put the offense in a position to put points on the board. I'm wondering, is it coaching are you getting from Kyle or one of the coordinators in between, just to ensure you have that next play mentality?
Yeah. On the sidelines, mostly I'm dealing with Coach Shane Day, our quarterbacks coach, and he's such a positive influence on our room and during the game as far as when you're not scoring touchdowns every drive, he keeps us patient. Don't press, stay in the moment, and so he does a great job of doing that. And that was key on Sunday. Took a little while, didn't finish as many drives with touchdowns as we would have liked to, things like that against a good defense. But that's what you do. You just stay in the moment and just play the next play. That's really all you can do, and I thought we did a good job with that on Sunday.
Last one.
Nick, even before this week, the off season, everything being virtual, and during the season, not being able to hang out with your teammates socially, probably as many friends socially, how isolating has this season been, and does that take a mental toll?
It's not too bad mentally, but it is. I'd say that's kind of one part that I might not enjoy as much about this season is, when there's no COVID, you're hanging out with your teammates as much as you can, and that's one of the best part about this job is just being with your teammates. And so COVID restrictions and things like that, it does limit our time. Just sitting at the table, chatting it up, things like that. We can't do that, and so that's one thing that I wish that we could have is more time with teammates.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, and one last thing. Normally I don't talk about too many guys, but I hate that Jamar Taylor kind of got hurt the way that he did. Just prayers and shout out to him. I really only say this because he's a silent guy. He did not talk a lot in the locker room, but just asked him about his journey through when he first got here through camp. 8 years, and he's a guy who's earned everything he's gotten in this league, and I got a lot of respect for. And to see him do his job and fill in the way that he did, those are the guys that you respect in the locker room. And so I had a lot of respect for Jamar, and it was really tough to see him get hurt the way that he did. But the type of guy that he is, I know he's going to battle back as strong as ever. And so I just got a lot of respect for Jamar, and I wanted people to know how much of a veteran and I guess silent leader he was on this team.
Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.